Snow Cone Mini One-Shot. If you had to pick one out of all the one-shots I made so far to become an actual story, which one would it be? And don't say the Send picks one because that would be 3 chapters at most. I don't want you to go, Deku. This war isn't fair. Ochako stood outside the train talking to her husband Izuku, currently sitting inside. I know, Ochako. I don't want to go either, but Japan is running out of troops. I'm sorry, Izuku apologized. Just, please come back, safely. For both of us, Ochako placed a hand on her belly. I will. I promise you. Izuku leaned out the window, giving Ochako a farewell kiss. Just then the train rocked and started to move forward. I will write to you every day. Ochako began to walk with the train, then started running as it gained speed. I will respond to you every day and I always think of you. Izuku yelled to her as she started to fall behind. Izuku watched her disappear in the distance, and the last thing he saw of her was her crying face. Izuku sighed to himself, sinking into his chair. He reached into his shirt pocket, taking out a picture of Ochako and him. Ochako once again had her hand on her belly in the picture, and the picture had the words, "The three of us," written on it. A single tear from his eye fell onto the picture. It will be all right, dude. A man with red hair gave him a pat on the shoulder from behind Izuku's seat. How will it be all right? Izuku asked the man. My name is Kirishima. And this war is almost over anyway. Honestly, the chance of us winning is almost nil, but the Americans are much better than the Germans are. Kirishima didn't seem fazed at all. Don't let any of the officials hear you say that. You will be branded as a traitor and get killed in a heartbeat, another man in a seat in front of the two with yellow hair said. True, but it just means we are most likely to go home sooner than later. So is that your girl? Kirishima asked, looking at Izuku's picture. Yeah, it is, and she's pregnant, only about 2 months. I wanted to be there with her through it all. Now I don't even know if I will ever see her again. Izuku began to cry again. I got a girl waiting for me too, man. I think mostly everyone here does, or at least someone waiting for them. Only thing we can do is hope. Kirishima sat back down in his seat. Izuku tucked the picture back into his shirt pocket. Wait for me, Ochako. No matter what, I will get back to you, Izuku thought, closing his eyes, trying to get some rest. A few days later. All right, everyone. Attention. Some gifts from your families have come. Sort it out and get outside to training in 15 minutes. Sergeant Aizawa put a box down on a table and left the barracks. Let me do this. All right, Kirishima. Girl named Mina sent you this. Private Ilda threw a small wrapped box at him, which he caught and went to his bed. Kaminari from Juro. Ilda threw it to Kaminari, who got a letter. Private Ilda pulled out a small toy. This is to me from May, Private Ilda told himself. Hey, is there anything for me? Izuku asked at the front of everyone. Story continues below. Yeah, a letter from your mom and father. Private Ilda handed him a letter. Is that it? Izuku asked. Yeah, alright, next one is to Siro from Ochako. I thought you were going to write to me. Izuku thought as he read his letter from his parents. At least they cared about him. At first Izuku thought maybe her letters were running later, but 2 weeks later and he had nothing sent to him. Not one gift. Not one letter. Izuku had all kinds of thoughts, thinking about what might be going on. Does she think I'm dead? Did she meet someone else? Is she alright? Izuku felt like having a panic attack when he heard Sergeant Aizawa came back in with another box and Ilda went through sorting it. Midoriya, Ilda called out, pulling out the first letter out. Must be Mom and Dad. Aga and Izuku jumped off his bed getting the letter from Hilda. Only it wasn't from his mom and dad. It was from Ochako. Izuku was about to cry. He finally received a letter from his wife. You gotta another one, Midoriya. Hilda handed Izuku another letter again from Ochako. And another. And another. Actually, Midoriya, I think this whole crate is just for you. Hilda sorted through the whole crate and only about 3 things weren't for him. Izuku took the crate to his bed and sorted through everything. All but 2, which was from his parents, was from Ochako. Some dating back the day he left to just days ago. He opened the oldest one first. Izuku, this is my first day without you. Your side of the bed feels so cold without you. I want you to come home soon, but our country needs you. I know I was a mess watching you leave, but at the same time I was proud of you for becoming a hero. And I love you so much, and when you get back I know you will be a great father. Just please come back home soon, okay? I'll keep writing in. I love you. I love you. I love you so much, the letter read. Izuku opened the next one. Dear Izuku, it's me again, Ochako. I wanted to let you know that. And the next one. Dear Izuku, the funniest thing happened at my parents'. And the next one. Dear Izuku, today I felt the baby kick. It was so cute and I wish you could have been here to feel it in. And so on until the last one, which was the most recent one. Dear Izuku, I got told that my letters were being delayed because of the war. You hadn't written to me back once and I thought, the worst, just please write me back. I love you. I love you. There was some tear stains on this one. Izuku grabbed some paper and a pen. A few days. Ochako sat quietly watching the news, desperately hoping for some news about the war. She knew it was long shot that it would mention Izuku, but she was so desperate. That's when she heard her doorbell ring. Ochako opened it to find the mailman. Here you go, miss. The man gave her a few letters then went on his way. Story continues below. Ochako closed the door and she cried when she the letter from Izuku. Dear Ochako, I'm sorry that I haven't been able to send one myself. They only let us send one letter each month and this was the only day of the month that we could. I love you so much and I'm doing very well. I'm hoping this war ends soon and we can be together again. Please keep giving me letters and I will write back whenever. I love you. Ochako immediately grabbed some more paper and she began to write. A few days later, as Izuku was reading over of Ochako's newest letters, Sergeant Aizawa came bursting in. Men, get ready. We are moving out now. Aizawa yelled and everyone inside scrambled to get ready. Everyone got ready and loaded into several vehicles moving out. A few hours later, Izuku hid behind a tree clutching his gun as bullets flew by his head just missing. Keep firing, Lieutenant Bakugo screamed at the top of his lungs. Izuku took a deep breath. He moved his head past the tree aiming his weapon at an enemy and pulling the trigger sending the bullet firing and killing the enemy. Izuku hated this. He hated killing. He just wanted to go home. But unfortunately he should have been paying attention instead of getting emotional. The enemy aimed at his leg pulling the trigger, hitting Izuku dead center in his left leg. Ah! Izuku fell to the ground clutching his leg as blood spilled out. He tried to keep pressure on his wand but blood kept pouring out. Help! Izuku called out quietly. But there was nobody there to help. And in fact the bullets had stopped firing. Izuku looked to his right seeing Private Hilda and Kirishima with bullets in their heads. He looked to his left seeing Lieutenant Bakugo and Kaminari dead as well. All his comrades fallen in battle. Izuku heard some Americans approaching. Think they're all dead? One American asked. Don't know and we don't have enough time to worry. Even if some are alive they will likely bleed out. Let's move out. Another one said. All the Americans left alive moved away from the scene going into the woods. Izuku felt light, like he was so close to death. Izuku used the rest of his strength to reach into his pocket, pulling out the picture of Ochako and him together. I'm sorry Ocha. Izuku's eyes closed shut. A few minutes later. Fucking hell, Sergeant Aizawa looked around at the amount of dead bodies. Everyone grabbed their dog tags and burned the bodies, Aizawa commanded. A bunch of soldiers went around grabbing the dog tags. One soldier named Todoroki found something interesting. Hey Sergeant Aizawa, this one is still alive. Todoroki called out to him. What? Get a medic immediately, Aizawa commanded. In just a few more minutes they already had a doctor looking at the soldier on the ground. Private Midoriya, how is he? Aizawa asked the doctor. Bad news and good news. He's knocked out and there's no telling if he will wake up. The good news is he is alive and I have stopped the blood. But even if he does wake up it's a 50-50 odds he's going to be a cripple. We need to get him out of here sir, the doctor explained to Aizawa. Alright, let's roll. Aizawa with help from two other soldiers loaded him into a vehicle taking him back to the base. Izuku was declared in a coma. Ochako didn't receive any more letters. Even after the 1 month thing passed she still hasn't gotten any and soon she started to believe he was really dead. 3 months later. Izuku's eyes slowly opened seeing a bright light. After a few moments his eyes adjusted to the light and he was able to see right, and he sat up in the current bed he was in. Hey you're awake. Someone get Sergeant Aizawa in here. A soldier who noticed Izuku's awakening shouted. In just a few minutes Aizawa came into the tent. So you're finally awake, Aizawa came up to him. Aizawa gave him some water which Izuku immediately drank. Where am I? Izuku asked. Medical tent. You're lucky to be alive, even more so not to become a cripple. Aizawa pointed at his leg which had so far healed nicely. What about the war? Izuku asked. It's over. The Americans won. They sent out some kinda destructive bomb. We surrendered very easily. A lot of soldiers are now back home. After a few more days you will be going home as well, Aizawa explained to him. Izuku was very glad to hear that. That's good, Izuku laid back down. By the way, Aizawa pulled out about 5 crates. These are all for you, Aizawa said as Izuku's sweat dropped. A few days later, Izuku stood in front of his house that he left about 4 months ago clutching a bag at his side. He hadn't seen Ochako in months and there wasn't enough time to send back a letter telling him that she was alright. So she was going to be in for a nice surprise. Izuku took a deep breath and rang the doorbell and he waited. After a good 10 seconds the door opened. Hello, Ochako said opening the door. The plate in her hands broke as it hit the floor. Ochako's eyes grew as in front of her was Izuku who she thought had been dead. Hey Ochako, I'm home. Izuku didn't get to finish as he was tackled to the ground. Deku, you're alive. You're really alive. Ochako had never cried more in her life than right now. Izuku wrapped his hands around her as his shirt got wet. I'm home Ochako. Izuku got off the ground lifting her in his hands. I'm so happy and. Hey. Did you grow some muscle? Ochako asked feeling his body. Sure did since we did a lot of exercises, Izuku said. Deku, was the only word she said. Yeah, I haven't seen you in about 4 months. And I've been really lonely, and you come back to me with all this muscle, Ochako pointed out. So. Izuku was confused. Ochako jumped right back into his arms. Bed. Now, Ochako commanded. And Izuku was happy to
Finally, we can relate. Our side by side is vain. I knew all along we'd find some way to communicate.